welcome back. The Directorate for Priority Crime Investigations, also known as the Hawks, has received 131 cases of corruption and fraud worth 3.4 billion rand involving state entities from the Special Investigating Unit, the SIU. Now, details were revealed in a virtual meeting with Parliament earlier this week when the Hawks, SIU and the National Prosecuting Authority briefed Parliament's Standing Committee on Public Accounts, Scopa. Now, the three entities form part of the anti-corruption task team that was formed last year as a prevention strategy, also to respond to allegations of COVID-19 related corruption. Hawks head General Godfrey Lebeya joins us now to tell us more about this. General, good morning and thanks for being with us here on Morning Live.
Good morning, madam, and then good morning to the viewers.
Perhaps just to start with, if we can just take a quick look, a quick overview on the background and also the nature and time span of the cases that you briefed Parliament's Standing Committee on Public Accounts on.
The cases that we were requested to come and brief the Scopa on are those matters that were referred to the NPA, which NPA have referred to the Hawks for investigation. These are 131 cases. We did not take the timelines, but we have taken everything that is currently on hand. So the matters themselves may have been reported in the past from 2015 onwards, with the latest reported in 2021. So that is the kind of matters that we are reporting on. So we didn't deal with the matters that have already been finalized and filed.
And also the Fusion Centre, if we look at the Fusion Centre, General, you obviously head that up, but was established last year to look at the COVID-19 related corruption. Can you just give us an update on that and how well is that working at the moment?
In addition to the cases that we have presented, the 131 that we said they were referred by the SIU, there are other matters that we are handling that are being dealt with from the Fusion Centre. The Fusion Centre was established specifically to deal with certain matters, but last year it also focused on matters involving the PPEs. That is those aspects that were designed to deal with the COVID-19, theft, fraud, related to the PPEs. So in that space, we have more than 190 cases that we are dealing with. We have indicated those that we have already taken to court, where the accused persons have been charged. 47 of them have already been charged, and then 3 were already convicted. I must also say that yesterday we arrested the other one who was involved in PPEs in the Eastern Cape, where the amount involved was 23.4 million rands. He appeared in court yesterday. So those are some of the matters that we are dealing with. We also hinted unto them that these matters that we are dealing with, the 131, is actually 0.63% of the workload that we are dealing with. So the majority of our matters are not necessarily those that are being referred by the SIU for investigation. So we are dealing with more other matters. And I think before I came in, you were hinting also on some of the matters that we are dealing with. Should you allow, I can just maybe in 2 minutes hint on some of the matters that we are dealing with, which are serving before courts.
Please go ahead, General.
Thank you very much. The viewers and listeners will remember that there is a matter of music festival corruption which took place in the Durban area where 28 million rand was involved. That matter will be coming again in September. From the 6th of September this year up until the 8th of October, that matter will be serving before a court. We will recall about the matter relating to the Durban solid waste. That is where an amount of 430 million was involved. In this matter, we will recall that there are 22 accused persons facing more than 2,786 charges. And these charges not only deals with corruption, but it also includes organized crime, which means that we are charging them with a gang. You shall also recall that we have got the Free State asbestos matter, which involve more than 255 million rands, where 15 accused persons are facing 74 counts. This matter is also to be appearing on the 11th of August this year in the High Court in the Free State that is sitting in Bloemfontein. You will recall that we have got the matters of VBS, where 18 accused persons are facing more than 188 counts, including the pattern of racketeering activities. Let me remind the viewers that we have got the land scale corruption in Mpumalanga, where 12 accused persons are facing 69 counts, including corruption. That matter will be coming in January and February next year for trial. You will recall again that in the Eastern Cape, we have got a 10 million corruption involving Dr. Nelson Mandela's funeral fund fraud, where 15 accused persons are to be appearing on the 28th of this month. Let me also remind the viewers that it is this very same Hawks that deals with the arms deal matter that will also be appearing again on the 19th of this month. We are dealing with matters of the gang-related investigation in the Western Cape, where some of the accused persons are busy applying for bail. We're dealing with the municipalities. 71 officials from the municipalities are serving before courts. We deal with the pastors, the prophets, the poachers, you name it. These are but just an indication of the matters that the Hawks is seized with. We are involved in the investigation of national priority offenses. Those are some of the matters that we deal with. So those that we were presenting before the Scopa was limited to less than 1% of the work that we are dealing with.
Appreciate that update, General. But speaking of, all of those, I'm curious to know about your investigation into Steinhoff, the Steinhoff matter as well. What's the latest update with regard to that?
With regard to the Steinhoff matter, which is also one of the matters that we were briefing the Scopa on, is you will recall that at the beginning we had difficulties in getting the report from the auditors that were assigned to deal with that by the Steinhoff itself. At some stage we were able to get hold of the report. We got that. When we studied it, we found that it will assist management of Steinhoff, but it is limited when we want to look at criminal aspects. So as a result, instead of starting from scratch, we had to again appoint the very same company that have done auditing, the PwC, which conducted the investigation in line with the mandate that we have given it. So they provided that report by the end of April this year, we studied that report. We have found that there is additional evidence that is needed, both in South Africa and abroad. So that is currently what we are working on. We are constantly engaging the prosecution that is working closely with the investigator to ensure that no evidence is left unattended so that a decision can be made.
General, last year in one of the briefings, you actually said that there was a bit of a problem in terms of getting information. Some government departments were not necessarily forthcoming with the information that you needed. Has that situation changed at all?
It has improved, but I think it is a matter that from case to case we come across this. Some of the individuals reluctant to provide information speedily, but we are not hopeless because there is a Section 205 of the Criminal Procedure Act at our disposal, where an individual that is expected to provide information is not prepared to do that voluntarily. We make use of the provision of Section 205, where we will get notices from court and serve on the individual to come before court to come and explain why we can't get that information. So we are getting cooperation, but there are areas that there are still delays.
And of course, the public wants to see people arrested. To them, this is ultimately the litmus test of the work that is being done. And just in terms of that, the number of cases that have been brought to conclusion or where people have at least been arrested in the lead up to the conclusion of these cases. Can you give us any updates on high-profile cases involving politicians, for example, in the main, because this is what the public wants to see, because you're talking about a lot of corruption and cases that you are investigating in the public sector, but people feel that unless they are seeing those arrests, they don't necessarily believe that anything is happening. And also, how much money has been recovered at this stage?
In general, let me first indicate that as the DPCI, we are investigating more than 20,738 cases. Of these, 6,621 are already on the court roll. And then in these matters that are on the court roll, we have got 13,684 accused persons that are facing a court process. I have hinted on some of them. You shall have noted that in the matters that I highlighted, in each case is not just one individual, but we are dealing with a group of individuals. I know that there is a view that unless you deal with politicians, it seems that you haven't touched where the people expect that we touch. For us, when we conduct investigation, we don't discriminate. But in the cases that we are serving before court, even those that I have highlighted here, you will recall that there are indeed politicians. You know the matters that are serving in the Mpumalanga, there are politicians that are involved. I have hinted on them. You know the matters that are taking place in KwaZulu-Natal, there are politicians. The matters that I have highlighted that are serving in the Eastern Cape, there are politicians. Those cases that are in the Free State, there are politicians. The matters that we have in Gauteng province, there are politicians. So for us, we do not discriminate that this one is a politician. The matter must receive more priority than others. We just focus on the crimes that have been committed, and we deal with them equally.
And just an update on the investigations into apartheid-era crimes, especially those cases that were handed over by the TRC. And we had an update where we saw a statement, the families, the victims' families, they were informed about the new investigators that were appointed, 34 of them, I believe. Now, can you give us an update on that particular situation? Are you aware of any of those investigations at the moment?
Yes, as I indicated last year, we have appointed officials that had resigned or retired from the organization to ensure that we prioritize those matters emanating from the TRC. Indeed, we have placed them in different provinces to assist in speeding up those investigations. They will be with us for a period of 3 years. We believe that in this 3-year period, we shall have filled the posts that we are currently embarking on recruitment. So those cases, without listing them by one, you will know that we have got the likes of the Craddock 4, that shall have happened in 1985. So those type of investigation are the ones that we are dealing with. You know, also those that are serving before court where there are challenges, but the public will know which other matters they are already serving before court. I do not want to be listing them name by name, but I know about those matters, and then they are reporting progress to my office on a regular basis so that we can see progress moving in those matters. So that is just but part of the priority matters that we are dealing with.
So in that regard, General, are you aware of the consternation about the investigators that you appointed? The victims' families, they have complained that you have actually appointed apartheid-era police officers who worked for the previous regime to conduct these investigations. And as they put it, they say you've now appointed people who were part of that regime to effectively investigate those who worked or served with them. And they have expressed great unhappiness about that situation. So can you just give us a sense of who those retired investigators that you spoke about are, who you've appointed?
Obviously, we have appointed 101 officials. And then during the assessment selection process, we have checked the record of these individuals. And they shall have resigned not later than 10 years. So it means that they recently left the organization. It has not been brought to my attention that a specific individual that has been appointed to deal with this case, with some of these cases, may have been involved with the previous individuals that may have been suspected to have been involved in those criminal activities. If that comes to my attention, we will look at that and ensure that we don't compromise the investigation. But these matters are checked by senior officers. They are being checked by serving officials. So they are not on their own. We have got to be monitoring. It can't be the prosecutors and the police officials that are serving that will be influenced by an individual. Us, as the Hawks, we have taken an oath of office that we shall deal with our work fairly in terms of the Constitution without fear, favor, or prejudice. So in that regard, those that have got a concern, my office is open so that I can be able to listen to those concerns.
General Lebeya, we have to leave it there, but thank you so much for your time this morning. That was Hawks Head General Godfrey Lebeya praising us on the work of the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation and the anti-corruption unit that he is heading up, that is meant to accelerate the prosecution and sentencing of those who are involved in corruption activities related to the COVID-19 crisis.